Well, we're back at it again. As you guys should know by now, I play pretty much every character in Battlefront, but lately I've been doing a lot of lightsaber stuff, despite me actually being a blaster main. Han, Aiden and Bosk are my highest level heroes, and my specialist class is almost twice the level of any of my other classes. So that's what I'm talking about today. How to be a pro with the blasters in Star Wars Battlefront. If you think this video is helpful, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Without any further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, I got a lot to talk about today. First of all, the blasters in Star Wars Battlefront are so diverse, I can't talk about them in one big group. So I'm gonna have to divide them into smaller groups. Alright, so I divided all the blasters on two different criteria. The first criteria is their method of aim. With this criteria we have three groups. A group that doesn't aim at all but gets a different ability instead, a group with scopes that actually zoom in when they aim, and a group that just aims down sight without much zooming in. The second criteria, method of fire, should be pretty self-explanatory. These blasters either shoot fully automatic, in bursts, manually, or something else entirely. First of all, I'm going to go over how to deal with lightsaber heroes as a blaster hero in a 1vs1 scenario. First of all, distance between you and your opponent is key. As long as you're at a distance, he can't hit you, but you will be able to hit them. So, if possible, try to start any confrontation with quite a bit of distance between you and your opponent. And don't move up if it isn't necessary. This way your opponent is gonna have to close the gap. If they're stupid, they will run straight towards you, meaning you will get 3 headshots. And probably an easy kill. Some opponents will use their forced jumps to get closer to you. But if you're a good shot, you can just get off headshots as well, meaning it will be the same story as just running in a straight line. If your opponent comes walking up to you, just holding their block, it really depends on who your opponent is. If your opponent has bad blocking stamina, just shoot straight at their block until that stamina is gone, and you can deal damage the same way you would if they were running towards you. If your opponent isn't paying attention, this is easy damage. If your opponent does have good stamina, however, I would quickly deal some chip damage with your block breaking, stunning or knockdowning abilities, and then getting away, finding a new spot and regenerating your abilities again. Finally, the best strategy a lightsaber hero can use to close the gap is constantly move from cover to cover. If you do encounter an opponent who's actually using his cover to his advantage, just move backwards, because your opponent is going to be a lot slower than you, dashing from side to side. This way you can slowly deal chip damage while keeping your distance, and once you get to an open spot, they won't be able to use the cover anymore. Once the lightsaber hero gets close, and to be honest, they probably will because of their ridiculous stats, it will get real. You will have to dodge your opponent while at the same time trying to hit him with either your blaster or your abilities. If you have a stun, this is the time to use it, because in close range, a stun basically means 3 headshots. If your opponent backs off just to regen some health and you have a block breaking ability, immediately use it to gain even more damage. And if you have a knockdown ability, try to hit your opponent from behind. Lightsabers can block knockdown abilities from the front, but if you hit them from behind, they will get knocked down just as hard, meaning you can also get off some good shots. While you are doing this, you will have to keep track of your blaster heat. Cool your blaster mid-rolls, this way you don't have to stand still and be defenseless. The easiest way of dodging a lightsaber is rolling straight for your opponent right as they are swinging. When you get to the other side, turn around, shoot your opponent in the back, and at the same time walk backwards. Once your opponent comes for you again, just repeat the process. However, try to not be too predictable. Once you get good at all of this, you can get 1v1s such as these.
Viper slays the competition.
This'll hurt tomorrow.
These close-range encounters can be won by any of the blaster heroes. However, some heroes have too good close-range abilities and some have none. Because of this, there are some blaster heroes that I prefer over others. If I have to 1v1 a lightsaber hero, I tend to use either Han, Chewie, Iden or Boba Fett. Han, Chewie and Iden all have multiple stun, knockdown or block breaking abilities. And Boba Fett's jetpack makes him the only blaster hero capable of continuously staying out of a close range fight. And if he still ends up in a close range fight, his superior dodges and overpowered flamethrower still enable him to win that fight. If you want to know more about how to play Boba specifically, check out this video. Once you get the hang of all of this, there's one sad thing I have to tell you. No matter how good you get, you will always be at a disadvantage against lightsaber heroes. Blaster heroes are not meant for 1v1s. Where blaster heroes truly shine is team play. This is something we will be looking at in a little bit. But first, let's check out how to deal with other blaster heroes. Just like with lightsabers, distance is key. However, now the amount of distance you want to keep between you and your opponent varies depending on who you are playing and who you are playing against. For example, if you are playing Volsk, you either want your opponents in the scope of your sniper or in the area of your mines. So set up your opponents so that you force one of these conditions. And if we flip this around and you're against Volsk, you need to avoid these conditions and try to fight him on a medium range. The best blaster vs blaster heroes are the heroes that have something for every kind of range. Good examples of this are Iden, Leia and Finn. These three blaster heroes are good in every scenario, but that doesn't mean they're the best. Chewie is probably the strongest close range, Han on mid range and Volsk on long range. Never underestimate your opponent. Play you to your strengths and avoid being caught in your opponent's traps. Alright, let's talk about where blaster heroes really shine. Blaster heroes are meant to be played as a damage support next to a lightsaber hero. The lightsaber hero can defend you from enemy lightsaber heroes, and you as a blaster hero can take out any of the threats that are attacking your lightsaber hero. This way you can cover each other's weaknesses and take out your opponents a lot quicker without losing too much health. Your lightsaber teammate should stay in between you and your opponents. This gives you as a blaster hero the opportunity to just shoot and drain your opponent's stamina. If your lightsaber teammate is in trouble, you can use a knockdown or a stun to bail him out. And if you are being attacked, your lightsaber buddy should use one of his force abilities to save you. When this strategy is applied really well, it can be so effective that even pro matches can be settled without taking any damage. Alright, and for one final team tip, a lightsaber hero can fight on pretty much any conditions. But especially if the opponents have a blaster hero as well, you as a blaster hero have to get to a good position to take out their blaster hero. So, in a team where both players are equally skilled, the blaster hero should be the one deciding where to go. If you and your team work well together, you can get some epic kills, such as this one.
That Jedi is skywalking over the competition.
Did you hope this stop? Wish me luck. Obey my commands now. Surrender. You'll be given no further chance.
Finally, I have some general tips for when you're playing a blaster hero. Finn, Volsk and Phasma all have a scope on their blaster. This scope is really useful for long range encounters. But when you're in close range, better not use it. It's easier to just shoot from the hip. I probably don't need to tell you this, but headshots deal a lot more damage. If your aim is good enough, just go for headshots. If your aim isn't good enough, keep on watching, because I have a bit of an announcement at the end. If you're playing against an enemy blaster hero, better cover can be a deciding factor. However, if you constantly peek from behind the same cover, you just give your opponent an easy headshot opportunity. And if you're playing a blaster hero, don't you just hate constantly being thrown around? Well, if you didn't know, any hero can actually completely negate the effects of force abilities by dodging at the exact right time. And once you get the timing down, you don't even need to be scared of being ledged anymore. And finally, I have one more tip. All blaster heroes are capable of performing a melee attack. Most people write this attack off as being completely useless, but in the right hands, it can be pretty effective. I'm telling you right now, it isn't gonna win you any 1vs1s, but if your opponent is already on low health, it is a good finishing move, because when your opponent starts swing spamming, it can be pretty difficult to hit them with your blaster. At that point, it's a lot easier to just punch him once or twice. Alright, but that's it for today everybody. In the near future I will be releasing a console aiming guide. This video will be about quickscoping and what blaster to use in what scenario. If you have a specific hero you want me to cover, or have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. If you thought this video was helpful, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. But with that said, that's it for today. May the Force be with you.